Greetings from the Asian Productivity Organization and welcome to this APO Productivity Talk. P-Talks are one of the three flagship programs of the APO and consist of a series of discussions and conversations with international experts on productivity-related topics. Today's P-Talk will provide an overview of how startups can enhance their productivity and overcome challenges through the application of system-based digital transformation. According to the OECD, business startups and scale-ups are key drivers of innovation and job creation and are important for renewing the economy. In many economies, including those that are members of the APO, governmental initiatives and legislation have been developed to support startups. Despite these efforts, the startup failure rate remains high. Studies on identifying the causes of failure and available countermeasures are conducted by academic institutions as well as public and private organizations. System-based digital transformation for startups is closely connected with overall digital transformation, which can be a crucial factor contributing to the growth and efficiency of the startups. This P-Talk will cover topics such as understanding business models and automating processes for better execution of PDCA functions. Before we start, I would like to give our viewers a brief profile of our speaker today. Mr. Jargalsaikhan Dugar is the chairman of Gund Investment LLC. He earned his Bachelor's of Science degree in mining economics from the Moscow School of Mines and completed a specialist training at the Colorado School of Mines. He is an honorary professor at the University of Science and Technology of Mongolia. Prior to his career in the private sector, he held senior leadership positions in Mongolia's Mineral Resources Authority, Ministry of Heavy Industry, Ministry of Trade and Industry. He is also founding chairman of the Young Researchers Support Foundation, a board member of the Business Council of Mongolia, and the corporate advisory board member of the International Council on Systems Engineering. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Jargalsaikhan. We are eager to learn from your presentation.
Greetings from Mongolia. I'm so excited to be part of this P-Talks. So hopefully you will be enjoying the content.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jargalsaikhan. We are very excited to hear your and gain insights from your presentation.
Thank you. So should we start now?
If you're ready, please.
Yes. Well, first of all, I would like to thank APO for giving me this great opportunity to present some of my insights and observations on how system-based digital transformation can help startups. As you know, many people regard the startup as a company with new innovative ideas that can be turned into big profit-making business, and which is called now unicorns. And I think such a narrow-minded perception on the startup companies normally leads to fragmented and short-sighted policies. And we need to better understand the nature of this concept. I believe that actually innovating something useful is one of the human fundamental needs. It's just like such fundamental needs as eating, breathing, or studying. And anyone intentionally or unintentionally invents so many solutions and methods in daily life to meet their other needs. On the other hand, families and organizations, communities and societies face countless changes and the problems, and they need solutions and methods to solve. And therefore, startups can become very important, mutually beneficial collaboration vehicle that can integrate individual needs into society's need. So this is the reason why we initiated special program with the aim to support startups at their early stage. So there are many studies and researchers that suggest that most of startups fail. and they identified a large number of reasons causing startup failures. While those conceivable reasons sound very logical, we still fail to identify the root causes of those reasons. We conducted a study in 2019 in order to identify such root causes. So if we don't have clear answer on root causes, then for us, the startups will continue to look like as a roulette table in casino with chances of winning 1 to 40. So identifying root causes is very complex and hard challenges because it's high degree complexity of startup activities. So we thought that only system engineering science can be applied for better understanding root causes and developing tools that can prevent or reduce the failure rates. In modern world, the concepts that we see on this slide become prevailing concepts whenever we discuss the ways of solving many problems that we face in daily life, regardless of which sector of in our life is affected by those problems. So there are many attractive concepts that sound to be good solutions to certain problems and become so-called trendy concepts. Unfortunately, after a while, those trendy concepts disappear slowly and are forgotten. Unlike those concepts, these three concepts of system, the concept of digital solution, and the concept of AI will remain, gain more wide applications, and will become even more powerful tools that can help everyone who faces certain challenges. So by applying, everybody has some, by applying some new solutions, everybody makes some expectations. So what kind of expectations we have? So expectations on what kind of values can be generated by applying this three pillar concept vary significantly, but expectations are very high. This is a summary of expectations compiled by our research team, and we use this as a general guidance for our programs. We use so many different concepts, and as you know, the mental model of concept or notion is a building block of our thinking. When members of team keep different models of meaning of same concept in their mind, it's very hard to create consensus among them. Let's take the concept of a startup. We see varying definitions developed by different sources on this slide. By comparing and analyzing these definitions, we can conclude that there is no commonly shared definitions, unfortunately. Also, we see that majority of definitions is linked to the concept of company being in early stage of its development. So there is no commonly shared definition of startups. It's highly complex topic and involves many stakeholders and talks on this subject. And majority definitions are more linked just the time being earlier. Many people in the same team, the conflict to each other because their understanding of things or concepts differ, and they spend substantial amount of time to build consensus. That's also true in the case of a startup, and that's why we decided to develop our own definitions of the concept and other related concepts that can be shared among the members of a team. The definition you see here is so-called systemized definition, and it was developed by applying system engineering methodology for developing definitions. And this is one of the tools developed by our research team. As we see, the main core property that distinguishes the concept of startup from other similar concepts is generating, testing, and perfecting set of knowledge-based solutions. Also, it says that such solutions should result in developing products and services which can add value to customers. So definition can serve as a guidance for modeling the startup's activities and establishing proper metrics. So building consensus on understanding of such important pillar concept is important step as laying foundation for construction of buildings. On this slide, we see how important it is to have a model, regardless of the quality of that model. As a mental model of concept or notion is the building block of our thinking. When members of team conflicting, it will be damaging the goal realization process eventually. So as we all know, nobody can start building a house without models. And everyone develops all kinds of mental models before they start doing anything or something. In most cases, our thinking produces needed mental models so fast that many of us say we do things without mental models. But that is very dangerous and false assumption. A mental model must be in place if someone really wants to succeed in something. Even if mental model is poor quality, biased, or wrong, having such model is far better than having no model at all. So developing mental model of such objects like houses is relatively easy task, but because you can touch or measure it, and also you can visualize it on paper. Developing a mental model is challenging task. However, intentionally or unintentionally, humans produce countless mental models in their daily life. They do that because they need to satisfy their natural needs. And they first must develop models of methods in their mind. This method must be right method, right solution that can guarantee satisfying their needs, and mental model of such method is produced by our thinking. So developing mental model deals primarily with the logical interrelation between various concepts or notions, and developing models of tangible physical things is relatively easy to compare with the developing models of dynamic abstract concepts like company or activities or startup. So modeling of high complex concepts such as company or startup requires system approach. Therefore, we have developed a conceptual model of goal-driven activity. Such a model is based on formal system model, which consists of interrelated axioms. A formal system is a system of axioms, and these 5 axioms that you see on this slide is known as GMA 5. So that stands for Goals, Enforcement, Mandatory, Integrated Axioms. And these 5 axioms are universally applied to any goal-driven activity. And these axioms are essential elements that enable the realization of any goal successfully. So The system engineering discipline is becoming more powerful tool that can help in addressing so many societal problems simply because traditional and conventional tools fail to address many of societal problems. So this so-called social system engineering discipline enables us to model such dynamic activities which were hard to model with traditional method of modeling. So relying on main principles of system theory and the system models and so-called GMA5 axioms, our team was able to develop models of goal-driven activity that you see on this slide. So we call this model as a social system model. So as we see on this slide, commonly shared goals is the cause of existence of any social system. So when I say social system is the family or organization or community, even it can be whole society. So this commonly shared goal is the cause of existence of any social system, and every stakeholder has responsibilities and duties that contributes toward the realization of shared goal in exchange for certain benefits accordingly. And any goal realization activity must be well planned, executed, monitored, and diagnosed. Stakeholders' responsibilities and duties should be defined clearly and aligned to each other. The advantage of this model is that it's easy to understand. It has same cycles of activities like planning, doing, checking, and adjusting, known as PDCA. So we using this system model, we have done some research in order to identify what are the real root causes of failures of startups. So according to these studies, according to the findings of this study by Socrates, 35% of startups fail simply because of the lack of clearly defined and measurable goal that can serve as reliable guidance for long-term and medium-term planning. And the second cause of the failure is the lack of systemized metrics. And we normally fail to establish good quality metrics or criteria to measure or to verify various aspects of the company. And the lack of metrics logically leads to lack of quality data for concluding and decision making. And the startup failed also due to lack of regular quality, lack of the regular quality diagnosis. So GMA 5 based models gives us new thinking and new approach to understand the root cause of failures. So many other internationally studies and researchers identified over few hundred reasons why explaining why startups fail. But when we using this GMA5 model, the main the root causes of startup companies can be easy classified and easy to understand classified, and this classification gives us good ideas, good senses on the developing solutions that can prevent such failure root causes. These 5 root causes that we have identified are interrelated, and there is actually very strong interdependence. And we concluded that having a measurable or verifiable logical model of goal-driven activity can serve as a basis for developing metrics and duties and diagnostic tools and generating quality data. On the other hand, if we don't have measurable or verifiable models of goal-driven activities, so we will still be lacking metrics and duties and diagnostic tools. So that's why we say this logical model is so important. So another analysis, research that we conducted some time ago revealed that any goal-driven activity by humans consists of two main types of actions. So we have simple tasks or big tasks, but still, regardless of the magnitude of that task, we humans do execute certain actions. So these actions can be divided into two: mental actions and physical actions. So the mental actions are the most important part of any goal-driven activities, as it is the process that develops mental models of expected result and the mental model of the whole activity that would result in realizing the goal. So this pattern of goal-driven activity is common to any goal-driven activities, regardless of the magnitude and the nature of the goal. And also, at the same time, humans invented countless tools and equipments in order to make performing some required actions more productive or less costly or more safe. But we must understand that still those tools and equipments would need human involvement. And performing those actions, these actions for realizing the goal, realizing it requires the strong, disciplined, and systematic approach. Everyone is capable performing these actions for simple tasks without disruptions. And such simple tasks like crossing the road or eating or just meeting someone, these tasks can be performed easily. But there is a case which makes performing these universally required actions more complicated. When there is a goal which requires collective effort, then performing standard actions becomes complex, and this complexity becomes the main challenge. When I say these collective actions, I mean the cases where there are more than two people are involved in goal realization process. And then this goal realization process becomes shared goal realization process. The main cause of such complexity is the coordinating activities of many stakeholders that requires special skills and solutions. And if we don't have that skill set or solutions, then goal-driven activity becomes problematic. Let's say when a startup company has 3 people, it is still easy to handle communication between the members of the team. But when the number of team increases, then leader will have increasing challenges as the number of communication channels is increasing in exponential manner. And this factor makes managing goal-driven activity complicated. Also, the leaders or managers need to deal with another complexity caused by fragmented and undisciplined performance of mental actions that is required for goal realizations. As you can see on this slide, so when you have these 3 people, you will be managing on the 3 channels. But when you have 5 people, then you will have to handle not 5 channels, but 10 channels. But startups grows just like this. So initially, startups is easy, startup teams is easy to manage, but it becomes more complicated when startup companies grows. Among these complexities and complicated factors, the managing mental actions by group of people requires a special approach. And this mental actions needs to be modeled. Without such model, managing mental actions would become extremely difficult task. Having such model would enable leaders and managers to develop proper tools required for effective managing the mental part of the activities. Our team developed and we use this model for cognitive activities. And this model you see on this slide. Let's focus on some of these important properties of this model. So this model basically suggests that cognitive activity required for goal realization can be decomposed into 23 mental actions, which are displayed on the third row from the top. And any cognitive activity is based on two pillars, in data and the mental models. And a lack of one or both of them makes cognitive activity disorganized and useless. If any organization lacks a well-organized data stream and a shared model of pillar concepts, then organization becomes too dependent on the personal views and conclusions of their leaders. And we are aware of the fact that this model has some deficiencies and we still continue to improve. At the same time, we also understand that it would be very hard to build a team with shared goal, execute plans, and train our employees, make them innovative without shared models of the concept of thinking or this cognitions. As you understand from previous slide, previous displays, the data is the most important component of mental actions. Data for cognitive or mental actions is just like raw material for making bricks. So if there is no raw material, no brick, no data, no thinking, no cognitions. So data is used to make analysis, conclusions, and decisions must meet certain requirements. Particularly when you make conclusions and decisions, you must rely on the good quality data. So for this purpose, we have identified 6 mandatory criteria on data that is used in cognitive activities for goal-driven purpose. So these are the minimum requirements, and it can be added more requirement. But this minimum mandatory requirement says that data must be real-time, documentable, practical, complete, aligned, and synchronized. So more detailed descriptions are given on this slide, so I'm not going to go through each details. So generating such data would help organizations in many ways. But in my personal view, the most important part of using this data is it enables organizations conduct accurate and fast diagnosis. Diagnosis is the most important learning process that can guide any organizations in the future. Well, it's easy to say that we need to have such quality data. Why many organizations fail to generate quality data? But because it's not that easy task. And fortunately, and digital transformation is one of that tool. And this is a powerful concept, invented for the purpose of addressing many challenges faced by organizations. Unfortunately, despite of its attractiveness, the concept is interpreted in many different, sometimes conflicting versions, and lack of shared and measurable definition of this concept creates some confusions. For example, digitization of the process is often confused with the digitalization of activities. Therefore, we developed our own systemized definitions for these concepts and similar related concepts like what is digital, what is digitalization, and what is digitalization, and what is digital transformation. And as you see, the concept of digital transformation involves wide range of actions dealing with data. And for example, this definition says that the digital transformation is the process of comprehensively digitalizing organizations' goal-driven activities to enable creation and utilization of quality data. So those actions include recording data, storing data, exchanging data, and processing data, and distributing data. And those actions needed to be quick and accurate. So, yes, indeed, this digital transformation can add a huge value to organizations, but building such capabilities requires complex and holistic approach. We have identified three main components required for executing digital transformation successfully. As you may know, many organizations around the world, even big international companies, fail to execute digital transformation successfully. And the model of goal-driven activity and model of mental activities and digital solutions such as IT platform, softwares, and the set of metrics and criteria can serve as the important main components that are required for successful executions. So as we see, having computers and internet access and softwares is not enough for successful transformation. Lack of any of these may result in failure of the transformation project or unjustified increase of the cost of implementation. So the digital transformation requires heavy preparation work. So based on our research findings and past experience, we have developed a new program for capability building at the startups, which you see on this slide. And the very first step is to make startups capable of generating quality data. And for this purpose, we suggest startups to develop models of their goal-driven activity, which includes developing policies and metrics and regulations. This stage is the most important step, which becomes a foundation for next phases. And the second stage is to plan the capability of learning and innovating by processing those quality data and converting it into practical knowledge and solutions. So the first two stages are covered by our incubation program for early stage startups and the serve as our guidance. In order to simplify and save and other resources, we have developed template models of main policies and regulations and the set of metrics for measuring startup goal-driven activities. And those models are tailorable to the needs of particular startups and negotiable in terms of executing time and order. Also, we have fully digitalized those templates so startups can execute and implement their tailored policies and regulations digitally. So also we established few indexes for measuring the impact of our incubation program on startup activities. One of these metrics is survival rate. And we choose this metrics because we could use these metrics to compare with the similar metrics published in international sources. So our incubation program attracted, which started to offer a program in 2019, attracted 2 companies in 2019 and 6 companies in 2020. In total, 8 companies. And this 8 number doesn't include those companies which are still under the program. So currently, the 5 startup companies out of these 8 companies continued their operations, and 3 of them failed. So even though all those 5 companies graduated from the program, we still work closely with them. And we are very encouraged by this result, which clearly indicates that a system-based incubation program with digital support can greatly help startups. On this slide, on the left side, you see number 90%. This is the estimate that is given by so-called startupgenome.com. And this company regularly publishes their findings, and this number is regarded as a kind of benchmark. So this 90% indicates that 90% of startups fail during the first 5 years. But with our experience and with this incubation program, out of 8 companies entered into the program, so 5 still continue to exist and they're still operating and they're still growing. So that gives us the ground to say that we have 62% survival rate. And those are remarkable achievement. The system-based incubation program normally lasts 2 years. And even though these results were positive, we decided to conduct comprehensive, deep analysis into our incubation program executions. And this analysis revealed some limitations of the program, and we continue to improve the program. And those improvements come from improved executions and better communication with the founders of startups and applying most sophisticated and advanced IT and AI tools. And now we managed to develop an advanced system-based digital incubation program, and we launched it in 2024. And with this advanced program, we intend to reduce the execution time of incubation program from 2 years to 6 months. But at the same, we intend to improve efficiency of the program significantly. This is this slide we showing how these AI tools can add value to the so-called system-based incubation program. So in the newly updated and improved version of the system-based incubation program, AI tools and models combined with IT tools and systemized cognitive tools will play the key role. Our past experience clearly shows that AI alone without quality data and the system model can do very little to support startups. So we decided to integrate the system solutions and the cognitive tools and AI tools and establish another system that helps startups in performing those mental tasks that they require time and specific knowledge. So this is a brief demo of how such system-tuned AI assistant can generate draft of some policies or internal regulations required to tackle some of issues in the company. So such draft version is the model of solution that is designed to realize a certain goal, and it meets system requirements and better aligned with other policies and regulations. Next slide tells us what are the requirements to be applied to those policies and regulations that will be generated by AI assistants. And those requirements are very important because we must make sure that this AI assistant will be generating good quality data, which is capable, good quality policies and regulations, which are capable to solve their problems and to meet their goal. This is another demo of how system-tuned AI assistants can help startups to do regular, unbiased system diagnosis into their policies and regulations. This solution is important because many problems in the startups are caused by deficiencies or poor quality of those regulations and policies. Even these solutions can be applied to do the same system analysis into existing laws and regulations issued by relevant government agencies. And for example, the number on this slide, we see these numbers on the right side, and those numbers indicate that this particular regulation has serious system deficiencies in its feedback system. So out of these 5 numbers, you look at this 50. That 50% indicates that that particular regulation lacks diagnostics and monitoring. So that can cause big problem to startup activities. System-tuned AI assistants can create even more values in performing many other mental activities related to policy regulations and operational appraisals, alignment between tasks and departments, and risk management. And these are the areas where startups face many challenges, and the system-tuned AI can provide valuable recommendations and suggestions. So hopefully you remember this tab, which was displayed on the third at the beginning of my presentation. And now I'm using this tab to conclude. So this is a kind of a summary of what we have achieved with introducing system-based incubation program in terms of the built-in capabilities at startups. So the most value that we created is related to decision making and improve the research skills and generating good quality data and a better alignment. But we still also continue to work, and we have ongoing project that intended to create even more values on each of these items that is listed in this tab. So the final takeaways. So we believe that system-based digital transformation incubation program can effectively reduce failure risk in startups by enabling good quality data decision making and improving capability for resilience and better adaptation and creating team and stakeholder alignment, reducing employee turnover, and encouraging employees to be engaged in innovation and improved attractiveness for investors. And also, the system-based digital transformation incubation program is in the process of evolving, and the following area need more improvement. So we are working to improve the employees' skill set for utilizing data and converting data into practical knowledge, and substantial resources are required for educating all the stakeholders and the related communities. So that means we need to spend more resource and to develop solutions that can help us to educate all related stakeholders. And developing alignment among various digital solutions and integrating them, it's a challenge. And we still need to improve in this field. And integrating ESG framework principles into system-based incubation program is one of the areas that we are intending to integrate into our incubation program. So by integrating system engineering solutions and digital tools and AI, it is possible to achieve sustainable productivity growth and robust innovation systems and inclusive engagement and shared prosperity. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Jargalsaikhan, for the very informative presentation. We are very thrilled and very excited on the developments you have presented, and we were able to gain many insights from the presentation, such as the importance of having models, strategic goals, tools, and solutions. Now we would like to have the Q&A session, and if you would kindly respond to this question, what are the initial steps that early stage startups should take in order to apply the introduced system-based digital transformation?
Well, you see, we have this concept, digital transformation. So it basically indicates that we are going to transform something. Okay? So we need to have very clear understanding to answer to this question. So according to our research, we found out that we are going to transform the whole goal-driven activity. And if startup companies want to take advantage of these digital solutions, the first thing they need to do is to make their activities more systematic and more organized and well-defined. So that means they need to have the model of their activities. And without such activity model, it will be extremely hard to generate good quality data. The quality data can be generated only through the modeling their activities.
Thank you very much for responding to that question. Our second question would be related to the digital transformation as well. You mentioned about the importance of the digital transformation and that it requires heavy work dedication. What kind of training would be necessary for startup entrepreneurs to prepare for the digital transformation?
Well, well, that's a very hard question. Well, let's start with the thinking. Remember that any goal-driven activity is governed and directed by thinking. So the entrepreneurs or the startup founders should start working with their thinking and make their thinking more cognitive thinking. Otherwise, the many founders thinking, even though their thinking is very creative, but their thinking is disorganized. It's very chaotic. So they first need to pay more attention to make their thinking more disciplined and more systemized. So, and also they would be needing to get some basics on what is system and system theories and system engineering and also IT and AI pillar concepts needs to be understood before they enter into this field. And also the startups founders would be needing to have much better and a comprehensive understanding human need, the human basic needs. And there is a theory and taxonomy developed by individual whose name is Mark Sneef, and his theory is known as a taxonomy on human universal fundamental needs. So this taxonomy actually can help the founders better understand need of all the stakeholders. So that can be another area for training.
Thank you very much. Another question would be regarding the structure, organizational structure. Diagnosis is important for any organization. I believe you have highlighted this in your presentation. What kind of mentorship is required to overhaul the processes, technologies, and organizational structure?
Well, we have many traditional management tools, but in many countries and many companies, still those traditional tools fail to generate good quality, good outcome. And one of the main reasons is that those many tools that is offered and that were developed and offered by many researchers and consultants and even universities are very valuable tools, but they lack inter alignment. And remember, the startup activity is very complex. At the same time, the startup company is a system, and that means all the interacting actions are interrelated. And in this way, there is no such separate actions that can solve the whole problem that is faced by company. So alignment, creating alignment would be the most important areas where the startup founders should pay and should get some assistance from mentors.
You mentioned about the root causes of failures of startups. In overcoming such challenges, such as securing financial resources and workspaces, how can the system-based digital transformation contribute?
Well, thank you for this enlightening question. And this digital transformation, system-based digital transformation, can really help startups in talks with investors in two ways. The first, as a result of applying this system-based incubation program through these digital transformations, the startup companies becomes capable to generate good quality data. This good quality data can be used in two ways to convince investors. The first, the first way is how they can better convince the investors. Normally, investors they would like to know how this company will be dealing with their problems, and they really need to understand the ways startup founders dealing their problems. So once you have this good quality data, and this good quality data can give good basis for good quality diagnosis. So once you tell the investors you have this good quality data and diagnosis, so it can be very strong signal to investors. And the second way, once the company is capable to generate good quality data, and this good quality data can be shared with all the stakeholders, including investors, in real time. So in this way, the investors will be informed and in real time. So these two are the main ways how startups can convince investors, but there are many other advantages that can be used to convince investors and make them interested in your project.
Thank you very much for answering that question. The next question would be related to indicators. You mentioned about the lack of systematic metrics becoming an issue, and then the lack of data is required for decision making. What are the indicators that may be applied to assess performance through the application of system-based digital transformation?
Well, one of the weakness of traditional management tools is that these management tools offer so-called KPI. KPI is very important tool, but still these tools needs to be improved. The way how these tools can be improved is that these tool KPIs needs to be deeply analyzed and it needs to be classified, because startups, all aspects of a startup needs to be measured and analyzed. So in order to measure all aspects of the startups, so there is a need bunch of metrics. And we propose to startups 5 minimum metrics. So the first matrix is the system health matrix index. So this system health matrix tells you how wealthy is your goal-driven activity, how it fits to system principles. And the second matrix is used to measure what is the alignment between tasks and between departments and between solutions. And the third matrix that we recommend to startups is so-called performance matrix. And this performance execution matrix is used to measure how every stakeholder is performing their duties and responsibilities. And the fourth index is so-called performance results index. So with this index, we suggest the startups to measure what results they achieved by performing. So this performance and the results should be measured separately. And finally, we also recommend startups to use another matrix, which is called a social responsibility index. So with this index, the startups from the beginning can measure how they impacting the society and environment. So those are the minimum 5 metrics, but startups may add many other indexes too.
Thank you very much for that insight. I understand that Socrates works with public sector and government agencies. Are there any examples of government initiatives related to the application of the system-based digital transformation?
Yes, recently, last year we had some MOU with Science Park Administration, which is the government agency. And now we are creating models of incubation programs which can be applied to, which can be used by such science parks. And there will be many other science parks in regions, different parts of Mongolia. So we really very much hope that we can introduce in much wider scale this incubation program and the digital transformation program to startups to many more startups and SMEs.
Thank you very much for that insight. And the final question, this would be our final question for this P-Talk. You introduced that AI may add value to system-based incubation programs. So the role of AI could be wide and vast, and the data-driven information is very crucial for any organizations. And also this will be going to the government as well. The last question would be, could data-driven results be a source for the governments to enhance their initiatives?
Yes, I think in fact the government realizes that fact. They also realized and they are aware of the fact that those government agencies operations lack such good quality data, and they are eager to understand and to explore such a system-based approach. And they actually this year we had the election, and now we have just new government format. And this morning I had a very good conversation with some of these cabinet members, and they have expressed that they're very strong interest in learning and also exploring the potential collaboration between the private sector, including our companies, and the government agencies. So we doing a great job to educate not only the government, also we are doing many training and research projects for the public. And those training and research works greatly help us in educating not only government officials, not only investors, not only startups, but also it greatly helps to educate the public, ordinary people. And we are getting very strong interest, and we are very encouraged. And we hopefully in the future sometimes Mongolia will become the first country that is capable to generate good quality data at the national level.
Thank you very much. And we are very excited to see the developments, upcoming developments in progress of the programs. From the perspective of being and contributing to the private sector, with your extensive experience, please kindly provide us with some kind of insights and upcoming projects and any messages to our viewers.
Sure, that would be our pleasure. And certainly we want to promote this methodology and this approach. It's not only for business purpose, but also we truly believe this new thinking and new approach can help to address many problems that is faced the humankind in many different fields. So it would be our pleasure to share our insights and experience, including bad experience and good experience too. Thank you, APO, for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jargalsaikhan, and we are very excited to the upcoming collaborations and also your programs and also the incubator programs by Socrates. And we would like to also thank our viewers for kindly viewing this P-Talk. And for upcoming P-Talks, please kindly subscribe. And we would like to encourage you to also give us your questions and comments in our website. You can also contact us in case you have any questions. So we would like to close this P Talk today and with thank you for our viewers, and we would like to look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Mr. Jargalsaikhan, for the very deep insights and knowledge given to us.
Thank you. Thank you for making this possible. Thank you. See you
Thank
again.
you.